You know that moment when a friend is eyeing a $6,000 camera, and you can see the hesitation in their voice. What if I'm paying for something I can't actually use? I've been in that spot a lot, especially when the gear promises medium format magic, but also claims it's still light enough for a day trip. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Before you decide whether the Fujifilm GFX100S is the right fit, let's walk through the everyday scenarios that matter most, the bits that make it shine, and the places where it might feel like you're carrying extra weight for no real gain. First off, the biggest question people ask is whether a medium format body can be practical for anything beyond studio work. The GFX100S weighs 883 grams, just under 2 pounds, so it's definitely lighter than the original GFX100, but it's still a heftier companion than a typical APS-C mirrorless. In my own experience, that weight is manageable on a sturdy tripod for landscape shoots, and it feels solid when I'm moving around a wedding venue with a grip and a larger lens. If you're used to a 500-gram featherlight travel camera, you'll notice the difference, but you won't be tripping over it on a hike. Autofocus is where a lot of the hesitation lives. Fujifilm has pushed the AF system forward, adding face and eye detection that works reasonably well in bright light. I tried it at a bustling street market in low light, and the camera managed to lock onto a child's face within half a second, even when the surrounding lights flickered. That confidence is a huge help when you need to capture decisive moments without hunting manually. However, the system does still lag a little when you push the focus point across the frame quickly, so if you're a sports photographer chasing fast action, you might find the response a touch slower than a high-speed Sony or Canon full-frame rival. Low-light behavior is another practical checkpoint. The new sensor and processing engine deliver clean images up to about ISO 6400 before you start seeing the characteristic medium format grain, which actually adds a pleasing texture for portrait work. I shot a dimly lit jazz club at ISO 3200, and the images held detail in the shadows while preserving the warm tones that Fujifilm is known for. The built-in image stabilization gives you up to 8 stops of shake reduction, meaning you can comfortably handhold a 50mm lens at 1/30th second and still get sharp results. That's a real time saver when you don't want to set up a tripod for a spontaneous street portrait. Speaking of stabilization, the IBIS works across the entire lens lineup, which is a big win because Fujifilm's medium format lenses are generally larger and heavier than their APS-C counterparts. When I paired the 45mm f1.8 with the body, the handheld video was buttery smooth, and the 4K a 30p footage looked professional without any extra gimbal. If you're planning to shoot video, the 4K limit at 30 frames per second is respectable, but you won't get the 60 frames per second or higher resolution that some cine-oriented cameras offer. For most documentary or event work, though, it's more than sufficient. Now let's talk lenses. Fujifilm's medium format glass is known for its exceptional rendering, especially in skin tones. The current lineup includes a handful of primes and a couple of zooms that cover the classic focal lengths. The downside is price. These lenses often sit in the $2,000, $5,000 range. If you already own a collection of Fujifilm X-mount lenses, you'll need an adapter, and while the adapter works, you lose the advantage of the sensor's full resolution. So the GFX100S makes the most sense if you're ready to invest in the dedicated medium format glass, or if you have a specific lens you've been eyeing for portrait work. Menu navigation on Fujifilm cameras has always been a love-or-hate topic. The GFX100S sticks with the classic dial and wheel system, which feels intuitive once you get used to it, but the sheer number of options can be overwhelming for a newcomer. I found that setting up custom presets for video and stills required a bit of digging, and the touch screen, while helpful, sometimes lags when you swipe quickly. If you're a seasoned Fujifilm user, you'll appreciate the familiar layout. If you're coming from a more streamlined interface, give yourself a couple of evenings to memorize the key combos. Battery life on this body is solid for a medium format machine. The NPW235 battery gives you roughly 500 shots per charge in still shoot mode, which translates to an entire day of shooting with moderate use of the EVF and occasional video clips. In my field test, I was able to capture an entire wedding ceremony around 2,500 images without swapping batteries. That said, if you plan to shoot a full day of video, you'll want spare batteries or an external power solution because video drains the pack much faster. So, who should actually buy the GFX100S? If you're a professional or serious hobbyist who values the unparalleled dynamic range and color depth that medium format offers, and you're ready to pair it with that